Does home insurance cover a tree that has fallen on a house? What's up, guys? My name is Mark Russell, certified arborist, but maybe more importantly for this discussion, licensed insurance adjuster. Been in the business for almost like 27, 28 years. And we're going to talk about the six most prevalent misconceptions about home insurance covering when a tree falls on a house. So without further ado, we're going to just jump right in. So I have my notes here. We're going to go over the notes. I'll share them with you as we go. These are just a few of the jobs. We have done tons and tons of removals of trees off of houses all across the country, from Houston to Connecticut and everywhere in between. So let's just jump in. This is going to go along with the article that we're publishing. Okay, the first thing is, are you required to get pre-approval permission for from the home insurance company? And the answer is actually going to surprise you. The answer is before you remove the tree. The answer is no. In fact, the way that insurance policies are written, there's something called duties after a loss, and that's your duty to mitigate against further damage. And the mechanics behind that is this. The home insurance company has a financial interest in your house. If that tree slips and falls and causes more damage, and you don't perform your duty after the loss, then they could very easily come back and claim, hey, you're in breach of contract. You said that you would perform your duties after a loss, and you didn't. And the tree slipped and fell. We're going to deny coverage. And that would mean that you would be responsible for not only the initial event, but everything else if you didn't perform their duty and they denied coverage. Okay, so the next one then kind of goes into that, which is, wait just a second. The necessity of obtaining estimates obtaining estimates before tree removal for insurance companies. Just had one very recently, and it really is a tragedy. A lot of insurance companies oftentimes will say something to the effect of, we'll pay what's reasonable, and okay, fair enough. But then very subtly, they'll say, well, go get some estimates and send them to us, and we'll determine if it's reasonable. Like, you have to realize what's going on in this situation, and it's very important to realize when you're in a life and death situation, okay, when you have super, super dangerous trees, okay, at the end of the day, you do not have to ask for permission to keep yourself safe. And guys, here's the thing. I just dealt with an adjuster like very recently, and he doesn't know how heavy these trees are, and he has no idea how dangerous they are. You're dealing with an adjuster. You're not dealing with a tree guy, and they're just following what their boss says. At the end of the day, they will pay what's reasonable. That's what the insurance policies say, and you have not only said that you'll mitigate, but next that you don't have to like ask permission to keep your family and yourself and your neighbors safe. So you're potentially at a place where they could deny coverage for breach of contract. And secondly, you're at a place where if you say, oh, I'm going to go get approval, once that ball starts rolling, believe me, they will price shop you and say, get more pricing, get more pricing, get more pricing, until the point, if it fails, then you're in breach of contract. That is a no-win situation, and that is really not an awesome scenario. Doesn't happen all the time, especially with homeowners who take charge and say, I understand the safety of my family, the safety of the FedEx driver or the Amazon worker. I'm not gonna put them in jeopardy. I'm not gonna run the risk of having, the recent one that I dealt with up in Jasper, Georgia, tree sitting on a house. If that tree were to slip, it'd rip the deck off. Probably cost, I don't know, another $8,000 or $9,000 worth of damage. And then the carrier could say, oh, sorry, you're in breach of contract because you didn't perform your duties. It's craziness, guys. Let's go to the next one. Here we go. The next one is there's a $500 maximum for tree removal. Now, this one's kind of crazy, guys, because just like when you go to the emergency room, as an example, you've got your admission fee, your room fee, the cost for your sheets and beds, the cost for your gown, the cost for, an IV or Tylenol. Everybody knows there's a lot of line items. One of the things that doesn't often get clearly communicated is the differentiator between debris hauling and all the other line items, such as lifting the tree off the house. So there's two separate fees. One is removal of the tree off the house and getting it loaded up in the truck. And then the next one is removing it off the property. Oftentimes, policies have either $500. State Farm a lot of times has $1,000. I've seen some at $750. But just be careful not to get that confused with the cost of removal of the tree off the house, because no one's going to get a big crane, bobcat. That stuff doesn't roll for $500. Okay, number 4, here we go. Home insurance coverage doesn't cover stump grinding. While oftentimes this is the case if you have a tree that is uprooted out in the middle of the lawn and it hasn't damaged anything. Where it does change is if you have a tree right next to a fence and the stump comes over and damages the fence. See, because technically fallen trees aren't even covered by insurance, but what is covered is the structure. So they have to fix the structure like the house. In order to fix the structure, they have to remove the tree. Well, that goes the same for the fence or for the sprinkler line. The piping underneath, if a root ball comes up and the sprinkler line is damaged, they have to fix the sprinkler. So in order to do that, you have to grind the stump. That's part of fixing the sprinkler. You have to fix the fence. That the stump grinding is part of fixing the fence, etc. So if there's damaged covered structures, then stump grinding is typically taken care of. And you got to be careful with that one, because a lot of times the adjusters, they're trained, stump grinding's not covered, stump grinding's not covered. And ultimately, once you explain it to them, then they're like, oh, yeah, I see. We couldn't have done it otherwise. Let's go on to number 5. Underestimation. Okay, underestimation of minor damages and policy scope. Many policy, I'm going to read this real quick. Okay, many policyholders underestimate the significance of minor damage, how it may be addressed by their insurance policy. They may perceive small damages, such as a few shingles. Oh, I get what this one. Sorry, I'm kind of catching my own brain up. Okay, there's a couple situations. Imagine a little kid. You and a little kid with his little Levi's goes into the Lamborghini dealer, and he has his little Levi's, and he leans up against that Lamborghini, and it gets a little bitty scuff in that clear coat. The owner of that Lamborghini shop would go ballistic, because we can all contemplate that a scratch on that type of piece of artwork, that type of value of a car, that you don't change the pristine nature of those cars before they sell, obviously. Well, we don't think about that in terms of like getting a little gutter bend or something, but it is the same principle. If you have a change of state, which is damage, and it doesn't matter, it's one shingle, they have to replace that one shingle, which is kind of crazy, because sometimes I had one time, I wish I could find it. I wish I had it up for you, but I had a job up in, this one was in Jasper, Georgia also, as a matter of fact. Tree came over, hit another tree, leaning over a house, had uplifted a dog fence. Guys, it was a wire, literally a little itty bitty wire. That's all it was. It was $600. The total price for the job, the crane, the bobcats, way higher than that. And for a long time, they fought it. And they said, nope, it was just the fence or the little wire that we owe for. But they couldn't put the wire back in the ground, according to OSHA, if the tree was still up in the air. And they tried to argue, well, we'll just do that after. And we're like, no, you have to do the whole thing. And you can't, the tree sitting over there means that you have to do both of those together. And that was minor. It was so minor. Turns out it never even hit the house. They covered the whole thing. They covered the whole job. So that's just really very interesting, is if you have a little bitty scratch on your shingle, that the cost of getting that crane and getting all that stuff to pull it off, Once you have damage, it activates the policy, it activates the coverage, it activates the claim. And again, named peril, which would be windstorm, causes damage even if it's a scratch. Think the Levi's with the little button on the side of it on the Lamborghini causes damage. That creates a loss, and then a loss, as long as the peril and there's damage, then that's going to be a covered loss. They have to fix the shingle or the wire. Okay, we spent enough. Even if it's small, it'll still have the tree part handled. Okay, we're going to go into number 6, guys. We're almost done with the video. Thank you for your patience. I hope, hey, by the way, hit the like, hit the sub. I hope you're finding value in this. Challenges in selective coverage interpretations. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's see. A prevalent issue arises when insurance policies lack specificity regarding parts of a fallen tree. Oh, this is a great one. So I'm just going to touch on this. I'm not going to read all this, but because I know it, because I wrote it. There's a concept called contract of adhesion. And what a contract of adhesion is, you get it with your cell phone bill, you get it with your gym membership, and you get it with insurance policies. And this isn't legal advice. This is just a tree guy and an insurance adjuster giving his opinion after thousands of claims over my career. So basically, what it is the writer of the policy, if the signer doesn't get the ability to modify, which you never do on a cell phone, gym membership, or an insurance, if there becomes an ambiguity where it's not really clear and it goes to court, typically the courts will favor the weaker party because it's the it's the responsibility of the person writing the contract to be clear. So oftentimes, guys, there's weird little things that's like an insurance company. If you're running into this argument, the insurance company says, oh, we only pay for that part of the tree that's on the house. Wait just a second. First off, does it mention that anywhere in the policy? Part of a tree? No, it just says we'll pay the reasonable cost. It doesn't say part of a tree. If the whole tree is sitting on the house, guess what? That's the whole object. To further that argument, there's another one. To further that argument would be on a HO2 policies, not HO3. Fallen objects coverage for that named peril comes on HO2 policies and higher. So you have HO1, HO2, HO3. So on HO2, one of the named perils is fallen objects out of the 12 that are available. And so if you were to kind of interpret, most people don't even have HO2s, they have HO3s. But the point being is, it's the fallen object, the whole thing. But see, oftentimes they'll want to take the ambiguity and say, oh, well, we only cover part. Well, wait just a second. No, you don't get to cut the object in half and only pay for the half of the object that you like to lower your bill. It's the whole object that you're responsible for. Yeah, we cut it in half to save you money because we didn't want to bring out a 500-ton crane to lift the whole tree at once. And sometimes you can't even do that because of the canopy and everything. You can't fly the pieces through the air because you couldn't land them because the neighborhood or power lines, you have to bring small pieces out. Okay, guys, that's it. That's my kind of long recording about emergency tree services and does insurance cover fallen trees on houses. Hit the like, hit the sub, share this, especially in the storm damaged areas. Share this on Facebook, this video, because this video will very much help a lot of people navigate their insurance claims. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you, especially the storm damaged areas. And if you're in the North Atlanta area, we travel all over the place. But if you're in the North Atlanta area or South Atlanta or Birmingham or Greenville or Chattanooga, give us a call, 770-ARBORIST, 770-272-6747, extension 1. You'll get me, yours truly. If you have a tree on your house, we'll come out and with, you don't have to pay us up front. We have all of our rates pre-printed, and we'll go back and forth with your carrier and make sure that you're taken care of, made safe, and we can be there almost instantly. We have instant dispatch. That's it, guys. Sound off in the comments if you found this valuable. Thank you, guys. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.